Pretend it's not there.
Okay, Dr. Linda Gaston.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Your instructor's a good one because he's really doing a lot of innovative and creative things to try to really make this whole topic of career development relatable to what you're doing. And that means a lot because your career is your life to a great degree. You're going to spend so many hours, to at least 2,000 a year, doing a job. So you want to make certain that that job is something that you really enjoy. It's not much worse than being in a job that you don't like. But you kind of I don't have to talk about your selecting a job so much because I think most of you are interested in electrical construction. However, they say you only have 4 to 6 careers in your life. Most people will not just stay in one job 30 years, get their gold watch and leave. You're going to move, you're going to do something else. That's why these are so valuable. It gives you other areas to look at. Okay, so we'll go over that in just a second. But I brought some other materials. You might want to check them. I think your instructor has told you about the California Career Cafe. These are some bookmarks. I'll leave these for you. This is what it looks like. You've spent a lot of time on it, more than I think. Yeah. And then this is what we do over in the Employment and Career Center. This is a brochure that gives you some information about all the services we provide. Just come in if you have any question about a job. You know, what are the duties and responsibilities? How much does it pay? Are there benefits? You can look that up on Eureka. You can go on ONET online. There are all kinds of resources that we have. We do some, we pull down some studies that are put out by the Department of Labor, you know, things, how much you're paid for certain jobs, how much in demand they are, all those kinds of things that are valuable information. So just wanted to give you that. Now we'll go over, let's see.
I got you.
Okay, this handout I gave you, it's just the PowerPoint slides and then this one little sheet that talks about interpreting career assessments. It's like a puzzle. When you have lots of pieces, you have 4 key pieces. You've gone over your personality assessment, the MBTI, Myers-Briggs, I think, most of it. No.
Yes, that was handed out to them, and they should have all had a chance to read it by now.
Okay. Did you interpret it for them?
I explained what the 16 different ones, but I didn't go
Okay.
into detail.
I'll spend a little time on that too. So you're looking at all these assessments that you have: personality, interests, abilities, and values. And in looking at it, you know, all these pieces of the puzzle, you want to think some other things too. Think about some other things when making a decision about some other careers that you might be interested in pursuing eventually. What makes you feel strong and confident when you're doing it? What were you good at doing when you were a kid? You know, what are you good at then? And then lastly, what would you do even if you weren't paid? If you find something that you'd love to do without getting paid, that's really a great profession for you. I give you a website to look at, so just hold on to this. So let's go through this little PowerPoint, and I'll just walk you through what to look at in this booklet. It's yours to keep. I highly recommend that you read it carefully because you'll get a lot more out of it. They give you a lot of information in a short period of time. You need to reflect and digest it, you know, marinate on it, that kind of thing. So let's turn to the second page. Oh, and let me give you the first caveat. Here I say the results of your career assessment serve as only guidelines. They provide you with information to help you make wise and informed career choices. Keep in mind there is no right or wrong, good or bad, because everybody's different, and that's fine. Okay, this first one is the COPS, the interest. And there are 14 areas at the top you'll see what we call career clusters. Now I've circled your top 3. And just to give you a bit of information, some say they have 2, a key heading and then something different underneath. You'll have professional and science for several of these entries. If it's in the professional area, that means you need a 4-year or more degree. You know, a BA, BS, master's, JD, whatever it might be. If it's skilled, you just need a certificate or a 2-year associate degree. Those are the jobs in those areas. Something else to note, if at the bottom, you see 1, 2, 3, if the abilities is also strong in your top 3 areas, that makes it stronger for you. These are your interest areas. What you like to do when you say, I like a lot, I like a little, I dislike a lot, I dislike a little. These are the areas that you really do like, you feel strongly about. If the abilities is also there, that just makes it stronger. I might want to be a great singer, I love to sing, but I don't necessarily have the best singing voice, so it might not be the best career for me to pursue. But if I can really sing, then I'm going to go for it. American Idol might be up there. Anyway, so look at those 3 areas. Now, how you use this in the back. And that's all the way in the back on page 12. Turn to, please. And you see, I gave you a handout with a completed page 12. So yours is going to look similar to that. Not exactly, of course, because that's different, but just that's how it's going to look. You're going to look at those 3 cluster areas, those top 3 cluster areas, and check them in this first box. You're going to list them right here, whatever they are, the top 3. Then you're going to look in the back of the book for the corresponding numbers. You're going to find, that cluster name, and it will list information about majors, about jobs. It will list a number of jobs that you should enjoy doing based on your interest. You're to read over those jobs and pick out 5 that kind of just say, sounds like something I might be interested in pursuing. Okay, so in those 3 areas, you look for your numbers, find 5 jobs, and then you fill them in. Right here, in each 3 areas. If you have questions, raise your hand as I'm going through this. It's not rocket science, it's kind of following steps.
Did you want them to do that,
Not
start doing
now,
it, or
later.
just later? Okay.
Yeah. I just want to explain it to them. So you fill that in. Then you either come into the Career Center and look on Eureka, which is a software program that gives information on over 2,500 jobs. It tells you everything you want to know. What does it take to have this job? What kind of education training? What kind of duties and responsibilities? What's the trend in terms of hiring right now? Or you can do it at home on ONET, online. Yeah, and he's told you all about ONET, Richard's told you about ONET online. ONET has 4,000 jobs, which is really great. I think our sole female came, which is good. You have one more, Julia? So what you do, the reason you're looking that up, you see in the next column, you should eliminate from the 5 down to 1. How do you do this? You read about all those 5 jobs. Find out which one out of the 5 is something that you would really like to do. And believe me, it always works out. There's going to be something that you say, oh, no, that's not the job I want. There'll be one that kind of meets all your needs. Okay? Then you put that here. And you'll know what duties and responsibilities, it says list skills and abilities. You'll be able to put all those right there. As well as coursework for these follow-up careers, or alternative careers. You take this to your counselor, lay out a pathway. It's very useful. Okay, and this is kind of how you and your counselor would go over what coursework you're going to take down the line. Okay, so this works. But you have to work it. You have to fill it in. Take some reflection, as I said. Okay, so that's just the COPS. The interest. Now the next one, that fun assessment that you were timed 5 minutes a piece on, that you just love being timed. Yeah, that fun one. Okay, that's the CAPS. That's the abilities, and that's on the next page at the bottom. Do you see the results of that? Look on page 3 at this box at the bottom on the right-hand side. Okay, there's a key to what each of these letters stands for. MR, mechanical reasoning, SR, spatial relations, on and on. Now, don't worry about all the numbers. Just look at the red line. If your line is at 5, for each of these in this column, if it stops or if it's circled around to 5 or more, means you're proficient in those areas. Those are good, strong areas for you. If it's below 5, it means you might need some remedial work in those areas. And again, the key's over here, so if you don't know what they mean, just look to the left. And I gave you another handout that lists all those 8 areas right there. There's 6 on the front, 2 on the bottom. And I'm sorry, the very top did not copyright, so those 2, the very top, you might want to write in mechanical reasoning on the left-hand side and spatial relations on the right-hand side. Purpose of this handout is if you look at that handout, you'll see, again, majors, you'll see cluster areas. If your cluster interest area is listed on that sheet, in the area that you're very strong in your abilities, that makes it stronger. It's kind of reverse from looking at just the interest in the beginning and the abilities. Now you look at your abilities and see if it's backed up by your interest. If you have questions, just let me know. So that's the abilities. Many of you scored quite high in several of the areas. So you've got great proficiencies in several of these. Word knowledge, language usage, a lot in spatial relations, which would make sense for this kind of profession that you're studying right now. Mechanical reasoning. Okay, the third test was values. So I've got to values. Okay, why values? Values drive everything we do in life. All the decisions we really make are really based on our values, relationships, where we live, what kind of career we're going to go into. Most of the things we decide are really based on our own personal values, and values come from all sources: family, experience, TV, unfortunately, culture, that kind of thing. But work values are very important because you want to work in a situation that's going to really go along with your values, support your value system. So these are work values, and you'll see on this page, page 4, there's going to be a red dot and line. It's either going to be on the blue side or the clear side, and then the key for that is right next to it. Okay, and this is all in the book. You can read this later, or you can look at the handout I have. Let's just go over those very quickly. Okay, if your red dot is on the clear side, you're more investigative. If it's on the blue side, you're more accepting. So what does that mean? It just shows you right up here. You can read along with me. If you're accepting, you're not as intellectually curious as someone who's very investigative. An investigative person likes to ask questions, so you want to work in an environment where you can speak up and ask questions. Jason, you're probably more investigative, I'm sure, because he's gone through the career assessment side, you know, Jason. But you want that kind of situation if that's what you are, investigative. If you're not, if you're accepting, that's fine too. You don't want that kind of scenario. You want a place where everything is kind of laid out for you. You don't really have to, ask a lot of questions. Okay, next one is practical versus carefree. Now I have all this on this handout as well. In fact, let me put it up on there we go. Okay, practical, you take care of personal things, efficient ways of doing things. You're carefree, you're lighthearted, imaginative approach to ideas, you take economic risks. So that means, you might want a cubicle if you're very practical. You want an office where you go to every day. If you're more carefree, that doesn't matter to you. You're cool, maybe working at different sites, that type of thing. The next one is independent versus conforming. Okay, someone who's on the independent side, they might be a good entrepreneur having their own business. They like freedom to work on their own. They prefer not to follow orders. Some of us like to conform. We want to know we get to work at 8 o'clock, we have a break at 10:30, lunch at 12, et cetera, et cetera. and they're just more comfortable conforming. Leadership versus supportive. If you have strong leadership, you want to have that opportunity to make decisions for the group. You like to exert authority. So you want that opportunity. If you're more of a supporter, you're a good follower, you don't need to do that. You just want to, take your direction. Orderly versus flexible again. This is the cubicle person who likes things kind of orderly. They know exactly where all their stuff is. If they're flexible, they take things as they come. They're less rigid about things in general. Recognition versus privacy. Some of us like to be in the limelight. They want recognition. So you want a job where you're going to get some attention. They're going to give you some kudos for what you do. Some people don't want that. They want privacy. So, no, that's not my thing. So that's important as well. Aesthetic versus realistic. If you're aesthetic, you really have a lot of artistic appreciation for things. I always use this metaphor. You look at a tree and you say, oh, that's such a beautiful tree. Look at the colors and the bark and the leaves. If you're realistic, on the other hand, you look at that tree and say, you might need to cut that down for some firewood if it gets too hot. You need both folks. You need both kinds. Lastly, social versus reserved. On a job, if you're social, you want to get together with people. You like to acknowledge other people. You've got a lot more empathy and social needs. Some people really don't like to socialize on a job. So these are all values that you want to apply when you decide about a job. So that's the COPS, the CAPS, and the COPES. Again, I highly recommend that you read through all of this. And do fill out page 12. It will pay off for you. It really will. Now, Myers-Briggs, I think you know a little bit about Myers-Briggs, but I'll just go into a little bit more explanation. I think you know if you're an E or an I as a first letter, an S or an N for the second, a T or an F, or a J or a P. Is everyone pretty much familiar with the Myers-Briggs now, your Myers-Briggs type, what it means? Okay, I'll go over it again.
Okay,
a little
yeah,
bit.
better go over it.
Just to give you some background, Myers and Briggs were a mother-daughter team. And this is almost 100 years ago. They've been around a long time. They were marriage counselors, and they were trying to help married people get along better, understand why she does what she does, why he does what he does. And they said we need some kind of measurement that looks at personality and what drives personality. So they came up with these, what they call dichotomies in different areas, which is just, opposing poles. The 4 areas is how you get your energy is the first one. Second one is how you gather information. The third one is how you make decisions. And the fourth one is just how you operate. What is your MO in life? So if you're an E or an I, if you're an E, first off, you're extroverted. You like people. You like to interact with others. You get your energy from other people. You walk and you'll typically talk to somebody. You'll be social. If you're an I, you don't really need to do that. You get your energy from kind of your own thoughts, more internally. No good or bad, wrong or right. It's fine either way. So you're either an E or an I. The second letter is how you gather information. And we gather information all the time. An S person is a sensing person. They like to use their senses. They're very practical. They're very present. They really want to read something, hear something, touch something. They use all their senses. If you're an N, you use your imagination, your intuition more so. So, when you connect ideas in your head and you come up with a hunch based on just how you intuit something. So that's either an S or an N. The third letter is either a T or an F for how you make decisions. Thinkers are typically, they use this in making decisions. And the majority of thinkers tend to be male because we're oriented that way in our society. A plus B equals C, 1 plus 2 equals 3. It's just, cause and effect, straightforward. This happens, so this is the result. Now, feeling people, on the other hand, use their heart a little bit more. They might even say, how do I feel about this? Now, many men, though, are Fs as well. It has nothing to do with questioning your gender. It's just that it's fine. Either way, some females are Ts. Just in general, just giving you some statistics. Feeling people are just very empathetic. They're always concerned with how people are feeling, how's this going to impact others. They're very, there's stress empathy in life. So you're going to be a T or an F for that third letter. The last letter is J or P for first judgers, not the classic judgers, but not the definition of judgers. But these are judgers in terms of how they operate very analytically, very logically, very straightforward. They take care of business. They don't procrastinate. They like things, just very crossing all their T's and dotting every I. I use the metaphor of a marching band. You remember when they've gone to games in high school or college, you see the marching band, they're all dressed up, they've practiced, they're on the same foot, they turn together, they're playing their instrument. That's a classic J. Okay, on the other hand, we've got P's, who are perceivers. Perceivers are people that are a little bit more laid back. They take things more easy. They're more like a jazz combo. Jazz musicians are really more laid back, easygoing, spontaneous, creative. So that's what a P is. They might put something off and do it later. So that's what Myers-Briggs is made up of. So I'll just pull this up as well, the EI, the SN, and all this is on your PowerPoint handout. And JPs. So let me think if there's anything else. Questions about anything? No?
Is there any way of looking at the test that we took just to see what we got right, what we didn't, as far as the time test, and just kind of
Really want to? You can come to the Career Center.
kind of just look at the other ones that we
Yeah.
didn't even get a chance to do?
Sure. Must be a J.
I don't
You
think
don't
so.
need to.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's good. Okay, anything else? Any other questions?
Yeah, quick
Yes,
question.
certainly.
On the test that we took a few weeks ago, I think it was some math and spatial relations.
Yeah.
And for me, I know I bombed that one. But, so I know there's room for improvement.
Sure.
So in areas that we see that we need improvement, we can, I guess, study and get
Sure.
better results.
Sure.
Okay, I see what you're saying. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that, hey, if you did poor on this, forget it.
No.
Don't even try.
No. The biggest room in the world is a room for improvement.
Okay.
So you can always work and make yourself stronger. Anything.
Right.
Nothing's impossible. Okay. Yeah.
I guess for the caps, the last one there, the MSD, the manual speed and dexterity.
Yeah.
How would one improve in that?
Some of these are just kind of innate abilities. That's why you would be better at doing certain jobs. If you really aren't strong in something like that, it's very hard unless you really just work at it. How do I connect? I mean, you can improve,
Yeah.
but that's a tough one. So not everybody enjoys doing that. Some people do enjoy doing it.
I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Does that have only to do with that last test there, with the last connecting of the?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not too worried about
Yeah,
it.
and when you look under manual speed and dexterity on that sheet I gave you, you'll see the kinds of jobs might not interest you at all.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes.
Oh, one more thing.
Sure.
After we've improved in an area that we feel we're weak,
Right.
can we retake, like, for example, the caps?
You can't really redo it for at least 6 months,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it'll
but you
take
can
at least-
eventually.
Yeah, okay.
We don't do it, I think, for about 5 years. That's our policy, because we have so many students, so we
Okay.
can't redo them every 6 months.
Okay.
But if you did want to take it on the outside, you can.
All right.
Where would he go for that? How do you?
You can look it up online, you can order it online, I think, do that kind of
What does
thing.
it cost, do you know? Is
It's pretty steep, my
Really?
understanding. I mean, in the hundreds, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. But look, I'm guesstimating, I don't know for sure. But I would go to CPP. You can see CPP stands for the organization that develops it and distributes it.
Okay.
But I would, yeah, if you want to, just look that up. Any other questions about careers? Some things about, well, you've gone over a lot of things about resumes and interviews and cover letters and thank you letters and all that good stuff. If you have questions, I'm leaving, okay, Career Cafe and some brochures. Or someplace, I'm going to pass them right now.
Yes, we got it.
Brochures about the Career Center, but take advantage of our resources. They're there, to serve you. Anything else?
Any other questions you guys might have?
Yes.
The differences between, like a science professional or a science
Skill?
skilled,
Yeah.
what's the biggest difference? One's more,
One would require that you have a degree from a four-year
Right.
university or more. That's professional.
right,
Skilled is just a certificate or a two-year degree.
I see.
That's what those jobs would require. Yeah.
Sure.
Anything else?
Do companies ever administer the caps, or
I would imagine so.
so
Sure.
they actually take the standard caps and give it to their prospective employees? Or do they alter it in some way?
I'd have to find out. I don't know. It would depend on the job,
Right.
I would imagine. And what the skill set is that's required to complete that job, or to do that job. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you
Sure.
again, Linda and
Jeanette.
Jeanette. Thank you. They didn't have to do this. This is outside, above and beyond everything that they do for the school already. So they've really went and extended themselves to our class to give this, to expose the Career Center to you and for you to use it as well. So I think they deserve a great big round of applause. Thank you for your time, Linda. Thank you.
My pleasure. No, we're here for you, the students. I don't know how to come out of Mac.
Oh, that's okay. I'll take it out.
I don't pull that out, though.